The scan begins, tilled 1,000 words. The void was endless, cold, and silent. At the edge of Terran space, a single ship drifted in the darkness. Its black frame loomed against the starlight, silent and unmoving, as if it were nothing more than a relic abandoned by time. The alien fleet that found it erupted in laughter. This is what humans call a warship, sneered a Velen captain, his scales glowing with arrogance. His bridge echoed with mocking voices, his crew pounding their claws against consoles in amusement. The core swarm lord clicked its mandibles with scorn. Scrap metal, barely worth salvaging. The Yavar scouts, feathers shimmering in the glow of their viewports, circled the drifting Terran vessel and laughed. Humans must be desperate. They leave this husk at their borders to frighten us. The fleet commanders were certain this was no threat. It was an opportunity. The order went out, scan the ship. Dozens of alien vessels locked their scanners on the silent Terran battleship. Bright beams of energy lanced across the void, washing over its hull. Alien technicians leaned over glowing consoles, expecting to see crude weapons, weak armor, and outdated power cores. Instead, the first readings made them hesitate. "Report," the Velen commander demanded. The technician frowned. "Strange. The readings are not stable." "What do you mean?" "The hull density, it shifts. One scan shows it as thin as paper. The next stronger than neutronium. It changes each time we measure." The commander growled, "Your instruments are broken." But the Avar scout leader reported the same. Weapons arrays, uncertain. One moment it shows none, the next, thousands. Torpedo bays larger than battleships. This cannot be. The core engineers hissed in frustration. Even the reactor is wrong. It appears dead, then impossibly alive. It carries no power, then infinite power. Our systems cannot decide. Confusion spread through the fleet. On the bridge of the Velen flagship, an officer dared to whisper, "It is rewriting our scans." The commander laughed harshly. Tricks, human toys, nothing more. But his eyes betrayed unease. Hours passed as they tried again and again. Every new reading contradicted the last. Armor was both fragile and indestructible. Weapons both absent and overwhelming. The reactor both dead and infinite. The crews grew restless. Some shifted nervously, mandibles twitching, feathers ruffled. "This is no wreck," one technician muttered. "This is a riddle." Then the first alarms began. Consoles sparked, displays flickered. Entire ships shuddered as power systems strained. "It's fighting the scans." An engineer shouted. "Our systems, something is pushing back." The commanders roared for calm, but chaos spread. One core swarm ship spun out of formation, its scanners melting from overload. An FR Scout's engines cut for 3 minutes before restarting, leaving the crew pale with terror. The alien fleet pulled back slightly, breaking their circle. Still, the Terran ship did not move. Silent, patient, watching. Then came the voice. Static filled the comms. The fleets froze, their officers staring at the speakers in dread. Through the static, calm and cold, came a human voice. "You should not have come." The words echoed across every ship, in every language. No translator was active. It was as if the voice had chosen to speak directly to them. Bridges fell silent. Soldiers clutched their controls. Even the proud Velen stared at the comms in shock. The commander finally roared. Where did that come from? Track it. No one could answer. The voice faded. The static died. The Terran battleship still drifted, its hull dark and cold. No weapons fired. No engines flared. It simply waited. Whispers spread through the fleet. It is alive. It is watching us. It knows we came. The core hissed nervously, mandibles clattering. Ships do not speak. The Yavar scout whispered, wings trembling. This one does. Back in the council chamber, the first reports arrived. The delegates laughed when they read the words. A ghost ship, sneered the Velon. A human trick, hissed the core. The Yavar envoy bowed her wings, or a warning. But the human ambassador, sitting quietly at the edge of the chamber, said nothing. His silence weighed heavier than the noise. The Zelvestorian added his thoughts to the archive that night. They laughed when they scanned the Terran ship. They thought it weak. They thought it broken. But what they saw was not weakness. It was design. Every false reading, every contradiction, every whisper, it was all deliberate. His 4 eyes glimmered as he dipped his quill. They think they mock a relic. They do not realize they stare into the shadow of a predator. Back at the border, the alien fleet remained. They dared not scan again. They dared not fire. They dared not leave. The Terran ship floated silently, as though asleep. But in every alien mind, the words replayed again and again. You should not have come. And they began to wonder if this ship was not a relic at all. But a warning. The alien fleet could not leave. Pride chained them in place. The Terran ship still drifted, dark and silent. No weapon moved. No cannon fired. Yet its presence pressed against them like an invisible weight. On the Velen flagship, Admiral Kor's claws droned angrily on the arm of his command chair. It does nothing, he snarled. We waste time fearing shadows. Scan it again. The bridge crew hesitated. The memory of the whisper still lingered in their minds. You should not have come. Admiral, one officer said carefully, the last scan disrupted half our systems. Some ships still haven't recovered. Kor bared his teeth. Then push harder. We will not crawl back to the council in shame because of one silent hulk. The order was given. Scanners reached out again, stabbing beams of energy into the Terran battleship's hull. At first, the consoles lit up with streams of data. But within moments, the numbers twisted. Report, Kor barked. The technician's voice shook. The ship's mass is changing. One pass says 4 million tons. Another says infinite. Infinite. Yes, Admiral. Infinite. Our instruments. He froze as the readings shifted again. Now it says 0. No mass at all. Another console beeped. Reactor output. The officer's hands trembled as he read the numbers. One scan shows nothing. The next says its core burns hotter than a star. The bridge fell silent. On an Avar scout ship, feathers trembled as the crew stared at their own screens. Armor strength fluctuates, one whispered. Now paper-thin, now impenetrable. Their captain's wings twitched nervously. It cannot be real. It is impossible. The core engineers clattered their mandibles in fear as their ship's scanners sputtered. This is wrong. This is not scanning. It is being rewritten. Across the fleet, alarms began to scream. Consoles overheated. Engines flickered. Weapons locked and unlocked without command. Admiral, shouted one officer. It's fighting us. The ship is pushing back. Kor's scales shivered, but his pride refused surrender. Then we push harder. The fleet poured power into their scans, flooding the Terran ship with energy. And then it happened. The data streams reversed. The Terran ship was scanning them. Every alien vessel convulsed as their systems lit up with a sudden intrusion. On the Velen flagship, consoles screamed with unauthorized access. It's inside our systems, the engineers shouted. It's mapping us, our cores, our weapons, our weaknesses. A core swarm ship flickered as its engines shut down one by one. Crew members clattered in panic as screens displayed their own reactor blueprints, sent back to them by the Terran ship. The Yavar scouts shrieked as their comms, filled with streams of their own encrypted codes, played back in perfect clarity. The Terran vessel had taken everything. Then the comms went silent again, and a voice returned. You wanted to know. It was calm, icy, inescapable. Every crew froze, blood chilling in their veins. Now you do. The words echoed across every ship, then faded into static. And just like that, the systems returned to normal. The consoles steadied, engines restarted, weapons unlocked. The Terran battleship drifted once more, silent and unmoving, as if nothing had happened. But the damage was done. Every alien vessel now carried corrupted data. Impossible readings filled their archives. Some showed the Terran ship as indestructible. Others claimed it was already destroyed. A few claimed it was both at once. The engineers tried to sort the chaos, but the numbers defied logic. This data is poison, one whispered. It cannot be trusted. Yet none could deny what had happened. Their systems had been turned against them. The council received the reports days later. The chamber erupted in disbelief as technicians presented the readings. Armor density, stronger than neutron stars. Reactor output, infinite. Mass, 0. Time of construction, yesterday and also centuries ago. The Velen delegates shouted in anger. Lies, corruption, human sabotage. But the Yavar envoy's wings drooped in dread. Or truth. The core screeched in denial. Truth is not this. Truth cannot exist beyond science. The Drade emissary rumbled like stone grinding against stone. Truth is simple. You looked into a Deathworlder's weapon. It looked back, and you survived only because it chose to let you. All eyes turned to the human ambassador. He sat as always, silent, plain, his hands folded. He did not deny the reports. He did not boast. He only sat quietly, letting silence speak for him. And that silence was heavier than words. Across the galaxy, rumors spread like wildfire. Merchants warned one another, never scan a Terran ship. Colonists whispered to their children, the silence is watching. Soldiers joked nervously, careful where you point your sensors, or the humans will point back. But the laughter always died quickly. Because the whispers always returned. You should not have come. The Zelv historian recorded it in his archives. They sought to uncover the Terran secret. They believed silence meant weakness. Instead, silence became the answer. Every scan revealed not weakness, but fear. Every reading was not truth, but a mirror. They laughed. Now they whisper. He paused, dipping his quill. His 4 eyes glimmered. And the price of knowledge has only begun. And still, at the edge of Terran space, the battleship waited. Silent. Watching, the alien fleet was restless. The whispers haunted them. The data was useless. Every reading contradicted itself. Yet the Terran ship remained, floating silent and dark, like a predator too patient to strike. Some commanders wanted to retreat. Others wanted to destroy it outright. But Admiral Raz of the Velen could not accept either choice. He was pride made flesh. On the bridge of his flagship, Scythe of Dawn, Raz snarled at his trembling officers. We are Velon, he spat, his golden eyes blazing. Do you think I will tell the council that we ran from silence, from shadows, from a ship that does not move? His claws clicked against the floor as he paced. The humans mock us. They think fear will keep us at bay. I will strip this ship bare. I will tear its secrets from its bones. One officer hesitated. Admiral, the scans have already. Broken cowards. Raz roared. We used basic scans. Now we go deeper. Ready the core probe. The bridge froze. The deep core probe was forbidden in most fleets. It pierced into a ship's heart, forcing its systems to expose their truth. Using it against a Terran vessel was not bravery. It was suicide. Admiral, the chief engineer's voice cracked. The last crew that tried. They failed because they were weak. Raz snapped. We are not. Prepare it. The crew obeyed, though terror gleamed in their eyes. The probe launched. A thin spear of energy lanced across the void, striking the Terran battleship. At first, nothing happened. The probe slipped through the hull with ease, burrowing deeper, layer by layer. It saw the core, the reactor, the truth. Raz leaned forward in his command chair, his grin sharp. Yes, yes, show me your secrets. Then the ship stirred. At first, a ripple across its hull, like a shadow flexing. Then blue-white veins of light began to crawl along its surface, pulsing like the heartbeat of a giant. The probe shattered instantly. Consoles across the Scythe of Dawn erupted in sparks. Technicians screamed as streams of impossible data scorched their screens. Reactor feedback. It's burning us from the inside. Alarms shrieked. The flagship convulsed. And outside, the Terran ship opened its eyes. Panels unfolded along its spine. Massive cannons emerged from the darkness, glowing with silent power. Its engines flared once, sending ripples through the void. For the first time, the alien fleet realized the ship had never been dead. It had been waiting. On every comm, the voice returned. Cold, calm, unforgiving. You wanted to see. Bridges across the fleet fell silent. Soldiers froze in terror. Captains gripped their chairs with trembling claws, mandibles, wings. Now you will. The Terran battleship's main cannon unfolded from its spine, a weapon larger than any alien ship in the fleet. Energy gathered at its mouth, glowing brighter and brighter, until the void itself seemed to burn. But it did not aim at the fleet. It aimed at one ship, the Scythe of Dawn. On the Velen flagship, chaos erupted. Admiral, it's locking onto us. We must retreat. We cannot withstand this. Raz bared his teeth in defiance. I am not prey. Fire everything. Missiles streaked into the void. Energy beams lanced out. The fleet poured their fury at the Terran vessel. But every shot bent away. Every missile veered off course. The battleship's shield, if it was a shield, did not even flicker. It was untouchable. The cannon fired. There was no sound, no explosion. Just a single beam of white light. The Scythe of Dawn vanished. Not broken, not scattered, erased. One moment it was there. The next, nothing. No debris. No trace. The flagship was gone. The fleet screamed in panic. Admiral down. They erased him. Retreat. Retreat. Ships scattered in every direction. Some fled into hyperspace without orders. Others powered down entirely, too terrified to move. But the Terran ship did not pursue. Its cannon folded back into silence. The blue-white veins dimmed. And once more, it drifted quietly in the void, as though nothing had happened. Back in the council chamber, the reports arrived. Delegates shouted in disbelief as the recordings played. The probe, the awakening, the voice, the cannon, the erasure. No ship can do this. The Velen delegate screamed, his scales pale. This is a trick. The core clattered in denial. Our swarms could not withstand this. Our fleets would crumble. The Avar envoy bowed her wings, her voice shaking. It was not conquest. It was a warning. They could have destroyed us all. They did not. The Drade emissary rumbled, because one shot was enough. And in his quiet corner, the human ambassador finally lifted his eyes. He did not speak. He only looked at them, calm and steady. And his silence was louder than war. The Zelvestorian wrote in his archive that night. They demanded the truth of Terran power. In arrogance, they forced it awake. It struck once, and an empire vanished. The galaxy whispers tonight, and fear spreads faster than light. They laughed. Now they tremble. At the edge of Terran space, the battleship drifted once more. Silent, patient, but no longer ignored. Because now the galaxy knew what one mistake could cost. The council chamber had never been so loud. Delegates screamed across the tiers, their voices crashing into each other like storms. Golden banners of proud empires hung limp above them, overshadowed by the glow of holoscreens replaying the same moment again and again. A probe fired. A silent ship awakened. A single cannon flared. And the Velen flagship, Scythe of Dawn, ceased to exist. No explosion. No wreckage. Just gone. This cannot be real, shouted the Velen delegate Zixthar, his scales pale, his claws shaking against the floor. It is fabrication, trickery to shame us. The Avar envoy's wings flared wide, feathers trembling. Fabrication. Hundreds of ships saw it. Your own people witnessed it. Will you call them liars? The court delegates' mandibles clattered wildly. No cannon has such power. Not even our swarm fortresses could erase a ship so completely. Science denies this. The Drade emissary rose slowly, his stone-like armor gleaming under the chamber lights. His voice rolled low, heavy as mountains. Science does not deny what is witnessed. You forced the Terran ship awake, and now you have seen what it is. The Speaker of the Council struck the crystalline gong. Its ringing usually brought order, but today the sound drowned under panic. Delegates shouted louder. Some demanded retaliation. Others begged for retreat. A few cried out for peace. But then the holoscreens flickered again. A live transmission. The image of a corps captain appeared, pale and trembling on the feed. His mandibles clicked with terror as he addressed the chamber. This is Captain Zir of the Krall's Fang. We confirm Admiral Raz and the Scythe of Dawn were erased by a single human shot. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Zir leaned closer, voice breaking. We thought it was a husk. We thought it was prey. But it is alive. It is aware. It let us scan. It let us believe. Then it chose to strike. He shuddered, glancing behind him at the silent crew. And that was only one ship. The transmission cut out. For a long moment, silence filled the chamber. No one laughed now. No one sneered. Every delegate felt the same chill. If one ship could erase a flagship, what would a fleet of them do? The speaker's voice cracked. We must respond. Do we declare war? Do we prepare fleets? The Avar envoy whispered bitterly, wings folding tight. War. Against that, it would be no war. It would be slaughter. The court delegate hissed in denial. We cannot simply bow. We are the council. We are the galaxy. Then you will perish, the Drade rumbled, his heavy eyes narrowing. Because humanity is more than you believe. They are patient. They are silent. And when arrogance pushes too far, they strike once. Once is enough. At the far edge of the chamber sat the human ambassador. No banners marked his seat. No guards flanked his chair. His robes were plain, his hands folded neatly in his lap. For years, the council had mocked his silence. They had laughed at his refusal to boast, to argue, to shout. Now they all stared at him in fear. "Speak," demanded Zixthar, though his voice shook. "Explain this weapon. Explain this trick." The ambassador slowly raised his eyes. But he did not speak. His silence cut deeper than any words. Delegates fidgeted, their bodies restless under the weight of his calm gaze. Feathers trembled, scales twitched, mandibles clicked nervously. The silence screamed louder than thunder. The Zelv historian scribbled furiously in his archive that night, his quill scratching across parchment. They demanded truth, and the Terrans revealed it. Not with armies, not with conquest. With one ship, one shot, and silence that crushes empires. The council once laughed. Now they tremble. His 4 eyes glimmered as he wrote the final line. "This is not war. This is memory being written into the bones of the galaxy." Far from the council, across trading hubs and frontier colonies, the story spread faster than light. Merchants whispered warnings. Never scan a Terran ship. Soldiers passed new rules in hushed tones. If it drifts in silence, leave it alone. Children dared each other to repeat the human phrase caught in the static. "You should not have come." But even children refused to say it twice. Back in the council chamber, the debates raged. "Contain them," cried the core. "Appease them," whispered the Avar. "Respect them," rumbled the Drade. But no one could deny the truth. The galaxy had laughed at humanity. Now the galaxy trembled. The fleet should have fled. Every instinct screamed for retreat. And yet, arrogance chained them still. Even after the scythe of dawn had been erased, even after the whispers had frozen their blood, alien commanders refused to admit fear. Pride demanded they try again. Pride demanded they prove Terran power was only illusion. On the Velen cruiser Bloodfang, Captain Razik leaned forward, his claws digging into the rail. His scales twitched nervously, but his words dripped with stubbornness. "It cannot fire again," he told his officers. "No weapon can strike twice with such strength. It was a trick, a one-time trap. We will expose it." His breach crew shifted uneasily, but no one dared to defy him. "Ready the scanners," Razik ordered. "Deep sweeps, full power." The beams lanced out once more, piercing the Terran vessel with waves of probing light. For long seconds, nothing stirred. Consoles displayed static. Engineers muttered in frustration. Some dared to believe the captain was right. And then, the ship woke. The first sign was a low hum, so deep it rattled hulls across the fleet. Then blue-white veins of light crawled across the Terran battleship's surface, brighter than before, glowing like rivers of fire. Panels shifted, hull plates reformed, and weapons unfolded in silence, dozens at a time. Engines that had seemed long dead flared with silent light, pushing ripples of energy into the void. Every alien ship fell still. This is impossible," whispered an Avar scout, feathers rising in terror. "It's alive," hissed a core engineer. "Alive." Then came the transmission. No static, no distortion, just a voice, cold and clear. "You wanted to know our strength." The words froze every crew in the fleet. "Now you see it." The Terran ship's main cannon began to glow again, energy building in its maw. The light grew until the void itself seemed to burn, bathing the alien fleet in ghostly fire. Panic erupted. All ships, shields to maximum. Retreat, retreat. Engines to full, "Get us away." But the cannon did not aim at them. Instead, it turned slowly toward a barren moon, orbiting the nearby gas giant. The energy sphere condensed, brighter and brighter, until even alien eyes ached to watch. Then, with silent fury, the Terran ship fired. The beam struck the moon. For an instant, nothing happened. Then cracks spread like lightning across its surface. Entire mountains split apart. Oceans of dust erupted into the void. And then the moon shattered. Fragments scattered into the dark, burning as they drifted. A world erased in seconds. Every alien crew screamed in terror. Some ships broke formation immediately, fleeing into hyperspace. Others froze, unable to move, their crews staring in horror. On the Bloodfang, Razik's claws trembled. His eyes widened. His voice cracked. By the stars, they shattered a world. Back in the council chamber, the destruction played live on the holoscreens. Delegates collapsed into their seats. Some wept openly. Others simply shook their heads, unable to deny the truth anymore. They destroyed a moon, whispered the Avar envoy, her feathers falling limp. Not a fleet, not a city, a world. The core delegate clattered in disbelief. No empire, no swarm, possesses such weapons. The Drade emissary's deep voice rumbled through the silence. And yet humans use them as warning shots. The speaker's crystalline body flickered. We must stop this. They must not be allowed. But his words died as the human ambassador finally lifted his head. His eyes were calm. His voice, quiet, yet sharp as blades. We warned you. You laughed. You pushed. You probed. Now you know. The silence that followed was unbearable. In the chamber, some delegates tried to speak. This is intimidation. This is tyranny. But the ambassador's gaze silenced them all. He folded his hands behind his back and spoke again. Understand this. That was one ship, and that was mercy. At his signal, the holoscreens changed. Not just one ship. Dozens, hundreds. Across Terran space, black warships drifted into formation, each one glowing faintly, each one a shadow that could erase worlds. Gasps and screams filled the chamber. The ambassador's voice was soft, but every syllable struck like thunder. We do not seek your worlds. We do not seek conquest. But if you come again, if you laugh at our silence again, then silence will break, and nothing will remain. The Zelv historian wrote furiously that night, his quill scratching over parchment. They thought humans powerless. They thought silence meant weakness. But the silence hit a storm. The Terrans revealed themselves not by conquering fleets, but by erasing a world. The galaxy trembles tonight, not because of war, but because it saw what war would mean. He dipped his quill once more. And the humans have not yet begun. Back at the edge of Terran space, the battleship returned to silence. Its cannon folded away. Its engines dimmed. Its glowing vanes faded until it drifted once more, as if asleep. But every alien eye knew the truth. It was not asleep. It was waiting. The council chamber sat in silence. No delegate dared to speak. No one laughed. No one mocked. The shattered moon still glowed on the holoscreens above them, its fragments drifting across the void like embers from a dead fire. And the sight of not one, but hundreds of Terran warships forming behind it, hung like a shadow over every alien mind. For the first time in memory, the galaxy felt small. The speaker's crystalline body flickered with uncertainty. Its voice cracked, its authority gone. This council demands an explanation. Humanity must answer for this. The words were hollow, weak. Every eye turned to the far end of the chamber. The human ambassador rose. He stood calmly, plain-robed as always, no banners, no guards. His movements were slow, deliberate, as though every step had already been decided long ago. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet, but it carried through the chamber like thunder. You wanted to know our strength. He looked across the tiers, his gaze heavy and unflinching. You mistook our silence for weakness. You mocked us. You sent fleets to our borders. You probed our ships. You demanded to see, and still we were silent. Delegates shifted uneasily, wings trembling, scales twitching, mandibles clicking in nervous rhythm. The ambassador's eyes hardened. But silence has limits. He raised one hand. The holoscreens changed. Life feeds flared from Terran space, the silent Armada. Hundreds of warships drifting in perfect formation. Black holes glowing faintly with blue-white veins of power. Cannons vast enough to erase worlds. Engines humming like hearts of stars. The chamber shook with gasps and choked cries. The ambassador's voice deepened. You laughed at one ship. That was your mistake. You believed arrogance would protect you. You believed the Council's power was greater than ours. You believed we were prey. He paused, letting the silence hang. But predators do not scan prey. They strike. And we. He gestured toward the holoscreens, where the silent Armada loomed like an unblinking wall of nightmares. Strike once. The Velen delegate 6 there could bear no more. He stumbled to his feet, his scales pale. This is intimidation, he shouted. You cannot hold the galaxy hostage. The ambassador's calm gaze silenced him in an instant. I do not intimidate, he said softly. I remind. The core delegate clattered nervously, voice breaking. What do you want? Why reveal this now? The human's answer came like iron. Respect, nothing more, nothing less. He stepped forward, every movement calm, certain, unshaken. You entered our space without permission. You mocked our silence. You forced us to respond, and we gave you a glimpse. Not conquest, not domination, a reminder. The holoscreens shifted again. The shattered moon played once more, breaking apart in silence, fragments scattering like sparks across the void. The ambassador's voice cut through the memory. Knowledge carries a price, and you have paid only the beginning. His eyes narrowed, his words cold as stone. Understand this. We do not seek your worlds. We do not seek your council. But if you cross our borders again, if you mock our silence again, then silence will break. And when it breaks, nothing will save you. The chamber shook with whispers. No fleet can oppose them. They could erase us all. Even our stars are not safe. The Avar envoy lowered her wings, voice trembling. This is not negotiation. This is law. A law written in silence. The Drade emissary rumbled in grim agreement. The Deathworlders speak, and the galaxy must listen. The human ambassador folded his hands behind his back. His final words echoed like a death sentence. Tell your fleets, tell your colonies, tell your children, never scan a Terran ship. Never laugh at our silence, and never forget the rule you ignored. His eyes swept across the chamber, calm and merciless. Never declare victory over a Deathworld species until the ashes are cold. He sat back down, silent. But now his silence weighed heavier than every weapon in the galaxy. And the Council knew the truth. Humanity did not need to conquer. They only needed to be remembered. The Zelv historian wrote by candlelight that night, his quill scraping furiously. They spoke only once, and the galaxy trembled. Empires that mocked them now whisper in fear. Children repeat their warning in hushed tones. Traders mark Terran borders in crimson. This is not war. This is silence, sharpened into a blade. He dipped his quill again, finishing the line with care. And the galaxy has only begun to learn its cost. In the void beyond, the silent Armada drifted, waiting, watching, and every empire knew, if silence broke again, it would be their end. The council chamber no longer thundered with debate. The delegates sat slumped in their seats, their banners hanging like tattered cloth in a storm. The holoscreens above still showed the silent Armada, Terran warships drifting like shadows, weapons hidden, patient, waiting. No one shouted. No one laughed. No one dared. The galaxy had changed in a single night. The Velen delegate Zixthar finally rose, his scales pale, his claws trembling. He looked around at the chamber that once echoed with his arrogance. Now it echoed only with silence. The Velen, his voice cracked, recognized Terran borders. From this day forward, no ship will cross them. The Avar envoy stood next, her wings bowed low. The Avar yield. We will not provoke them. We will not mock them again. One by one, every empire followed. The core clicked their mandibles bitterly but lowered their heads. The Drade emissary, grim and heavy, inclined in respect. Even the most defiant voices fell quiet under the shadow of silence. The speaker struck the crystalline gong with trembling hands. Let it be recorded. The Council recognizes Earth. The Terrans are no longer dismissed, no longer ignored. They are equal. The Chamber's words rang hollow, for everyone knew the truth. The Council did not speak as equals. They spoke as the afraid. The human ambassador inclined his head once. No smile, no triumph. He returned to his seat and folded his hands. He said nothing. And that silence weighed heavier than the Council's decree. Across the galaxy, the story spread faster than light. On trading worlds, merchants closed entire routes, refusing to carry goods near Terran borders. No profit is worth that risk, they muttered, drawing thick red lines on their star maps. On frontier colonies, families abandoned homes, fearing the humans might awaken again. Some whispered prayers into the void, hoping Terran silence would remain unbroken. On military worlds, soldiers repeated the new laws in hushed tones. Never scan a Terran ship. Never mock their silence. Never forget the rule. Children whispered it too, daring one another in dark corners of their cities. You should not have come. But even children learned quickly, never say it twice. The Zelv historian's archive swelled with frantic entries. His quill scratched across parchment, ink spilling faster than he had ever written before. They laughed at the silence, he wrote. They mocked the drifting ship. But silence is not weakness. It is patience sharpened into a blade. One shot erased a flagship, another shattered a moon. The Council bowed in fear, and the galaxy trembled. This was not conquest. This was a reminder. His 4 eyes glowed as he dipped his quill again. And the galaxy will not forget. Not tomorrow. Not in 1,000 years. Far beyond, on the edges of Terran space, the battleship drifted once more. Its glowing vanes dimmed. Its cannon folded away. Its engines quieted. It looked like a dead relic again, silent and still. But no one believed that lie anymore. Because now the galaxy knew. Silence was not emptiness. Silence was warning. Silence was the predator's breath before the strike. The Council closed in a whisper. Delegates departed with trembling steps. Fleets recalled their ships from Terran borders. Colonies prayed to gods they had once abandoned. And throughout it all, humanity said nothing. They did not boast. They did not conquer. They simply waited. The final words of the human ambassador lingered in every alien mind. Never scan a Terran ship. Never laugh at our silence. Never forget the rule you ignored. The galaxy now lived by that rule. It was written in council law. It was spoken in soldiers' barracks. It was whispered in children's games. It was carved into history itself. And at the edge of the stars, the silent Armada drifted. Waiting. Watching. Silent. And that silence was louder than war.